Sometimes I feel underappreciated. Not today. I have theme music today. I've been walking around with theme music, and it's my thing. I fight against is I don't want to be forgotten. Yeah. I just want people to go like, man, how cool would Bert be right now? Like that's the thing. Mm-hmm. That's the fucking thing. Some guy left a shitty comment on one of our Two Bears posts. I never read comments, but it was like and it was a good post. I liked the post, and it was like. Do you remember when Tom and Bert used to be funny?
All right, so I floated this theory in my last video on Tom and Bert. Basically, at this point, I think they're strategically leaning into the cringe to stay relevant. It seems to be a case of any publicity is good publicity, and it reminded me of a comment that I saw on one of my videos a while ago where someone said that they got an ad for Two Bears, One Cave on my video. Now, I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's their strategy. For those of you who don't know how Google Ads works, if you're an advertiser, you can actually target your ads onto a particular channel or even a specific video. So it's possible that YMH is putting ads on my videos, which is actually kind of funny because they would be indirectly paying me to trash them. That's definitely some Bert logic right there. I can just imagine him sitting in a meeting about all the downfall videos he's been getting. He's all excited at the attention, and then he blurts out, "Hey, why don't we just put ads on those videos?" I also mentioned this in my last Schultz video, how he's obviously leaning into the cringe with his stupid haircut and Schultz epiphanies. But as for Bert, at this point, he's become a parody of himself, and he knows it as well. In the latest episode of Two Bears, One Cave, he literally mentioned the 3 things that he's known for as if they were his life goals or something. Number 1 is taking his shirt off, number 2 is telling the machine story, and number 3 is drinking a gallon of Kool-Aid every day. So Bert's definitely aware of the fact that his career has survived off of those 3 things, and we also can't forget his mating call. Oh man, that's brutal. But there was also something else that caught my attention in this episode that makes me think they actually have production meetings and plan all of this out. I noticed that he said the word energy over 20 times, and it was almost like it was planned out in advance, kind of like his word of the week.
His energy is infectious. Because he's a big energy.
He's got your energy.
He's got my energy. Yeah. I love that energy. I love that energy. Yeah. I love when someone's like, one more. My favorite thing in the world is hungover Sunday morning in the living room energy. And then like 5 people came off the plane and were like, hey man, I love what you do. I love it. And then I was like, that energy. It's like, I don't really understand people that don't like being famous. I love energy. That's why I'm terrified to death. You guys are real inspirations to me because you live life untethered. You are real genuine bros, and I love that energy.
Jesus,
that is the energy I strive for in life. No, Rogan's energy is really infectious.
Yeah, I'm onto these guys. I know Bert says the word energy a lot, but that was way exaggerated, and I left a few of them out because it became so repetitive, and this was only an hour-long episode too. But they started off the podcast by discussing how their guests, Kevin and John from KFC Radio and Barstool Sports, met Joe Rogan the night before, and I think this episode was recorded around the time they released their vodka in Vegas, so it's been sitting in the vault for a while, and eventually the discussion centered around how Bert is good at introducing people. Apparently it's one of Bert's favorite things to do, and he even plays his own soundtrack in his head when he's being introduced to people for the first time.
I love the Chicago Bulls intro music as I meet someone, because they go, hey, can I introduce your friend? And then I hear, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bert Kreischer. And I'm like, very good to meet you. Have I shown you my stomach?
I don't know if you just caught that at the end there where he said, very good to meet you. Have I shown you my stomach? Yeah, like I said, it's so obvious that he's aware he's a parody of himself. And it got so bad at one point that Kevin and John couldn't help but laugh at how cringy he is. Even Tom had that look on his face where he's just trying to get through another episode, get his money and get out. Bert was telling the story of how he flew out Kevin and John to Amsterdam for 24 hours to party with him, and how he feels like he didn't get enough attention or credit for it at the time, but now he finally got to tell Joe Rogan about it at dinner last night, and Rogan thought it was a pretty wild thing to do.
You know, Sometimes I feel underappreciated. Not today. I have theme music today. I've been walking around with theme music.
Just so amazing, you know?
I did one of the coolest things in the world that any dude's going to do for their friends. I did. When I surprised you guys and flew you to Amsterdam. Yes. You know that story, right, Tommy?
Yes, I do. And I feel like you should be appreciated for it.
Oh, no. I got my appreciation last night. And I say this in like, it never went viral the way I thought it should, and it never was repaid with other people the way I thought it should. Like, I thought it should be a thing dudes do. And you know, I did it because you do it to your friends. Not at the last minute, but Tom flies out friends he grew up with. He's like, yo, I'm at the United Center for 2 shows. It's big. Why don't you come out? We'll have dinner. We'll spend some time together. It's
awesome.
It's Tom's brain. Of course, I go, how do I monetize that? And so I go, I'm flying to Amsterdam.
How do I get worldwide appreciation for that? It's insane. It's insane.
The internet did not worship me properly.
They did not worship me properly.
When we did Habitat for Humanity, he's like, I want my name on a building.
I think it's crazy how everything Bert does is for attention. He definitely overshares and posts way too much on social media. He reminds me of a friend I used to have in high school who would tell the most outlandish stories and always try to one-up everybody. The difference is that Bert's carried that energy into his 50s, and he has the money now to pay people to hang out with him. We all know how he's piggybacked off the success of guys like Shane Gillis, Mark Normand, and Ari Shaffir by paying them to do his shows so he can sell more tickets. And so then Bert couldn't help himself and started explaining yet again just how good his life is and how lucky he is to be a podcaster even though he has no talent.
And I say this, and I hope you guys hear this the right way. This is better than anyone can ever do. This is the funnest thing in the world. Is to have really funny friends and see them and then fly in for your vodka launch and then go, hey, do you guys want a podcast tomorrow? And you guys go, we'll change our flight.
Bro.
And then go, let's fucking hang tomorrow.
Because it's also the ease of it. You know what I mean? Like you can be a movie star and all these, like you can tour, Taylor Swift, but that's hard. That's a lot to do. And I mean, I guess you guys go on tour a lot, so like the comic lifestyle is not easy, but doing this is like, for the opportunities it can afford and the money you can potentially make and kind of how easy it is to just kick it with your friends.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like it's like some secret we unlocked. I'm like, why don't all you guys try to do this?
And we're not that talented.
No, that's yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
I'm definitely not talented.
I will say
I
this.
am for sure not talented.
To all you guys out there starting podcasts, you're better than us. This job, I do this forever.
And Bert seems to be making the most of his fame and success. He's got this idea for a show called Stranded and Branded, which is clearly a rip-off Mr. Beast. So take a look at his soft pitch and I'll pick it up straight after.
You can count the number of grains of rice.
Can I soft pitch my idea? This is my baby. I've wanted to do this forever. It's called Stranded and Branded.
And Brandon?
I want to move to a desert island and only sustain my life off of corporate integrations. So people will send me, Porosos would be one, great integration. I would love Lucy's Kettle and Fire, but they send them in crates to my island, and I only can live off of branded integrations. And I live there for 30 days. And the first one, I'd love a car sponsorship, nice Subaru, dropped off on the island, and then I get to tear it apart and use it as a castaway in every way possible. And I don't know if I want to spend 3 months doing that. I could definitely spend a month on an island. I already have the island picked out.
Yeah, you're doing it. You're
Really?
doing this.
Yeah, right outside the Bahamas. A beautiful family owns it. I've reached out to them.
A beautiful family owns it.
Yeah,
So you,
by the way, at the time,
doing
they were trying to sell the island.
Oh, Epstein.
Little Saint, what is it?
Buddy, if we did Stranded and Brandon on Epstein's island.
Yes. I'll tell you this, the views will be through the roof.
Through the roof. I don't know how many brands are going to be down, but the ones that are going to get their money's worth. That's for certain.
Dude, make Stranded and Brandon happen.
Yeah, no.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it in a heartbeat.
Really?
I will join you if I can.
Well, no,
if
you know what it is?
Solo,
Is you bring out
Can
a
you
brand
come?
sponsorship. You come out and you go, Bert, it's day 4, and I'm bringing out fucking Pirate's Booty. Pirate water. Pirate water. And I'm like, thank God. I've been
But you
looking
need
to drink.
snacks, so Pirate's Booty's here.
Yeah, Pirate Booty's too. And then we just drink by a fire, and I just catch you up, and you know I would not let you talk. I'd be like, I haven't talked to anybody in 5 days. You have no idea. Have I ever told you about the time I got involved with the Russian Mafia?
So if Bert was stranded on a deserted island and someone came to visit him, the first thing he'd say to them is, "Have you heard about the time I got involved with the Russian Mafia?" I mean, he's basically a walking parody at this point. And like I said, this was only a 1-hour episode, and it felt like Bert was the guest and he was the one being interviewed. He kept interrupting everyone to tell his own stories and pitch his island show, but my favorite part by far was when Bert admitted yet again that he reads the comment section. We've heard him say this so many times and then try and deny it, and he always seems so surprised at all the hate that him and Tom have been getting. He tried to spin it off into a feel-good story, but he clearly just embellished the last part to make it sound good.
Yeah. That actually reminds me, I was going to ask you when you were like earlier, you're like, I don't know what I'm chasing. Do you think you're chasing more money or applause?
Oh, come on. That's an easy answer.
What do you think it is?
The applause and the praise and the love and the... You
love.
have enough money. You just love...
It's love.
It's
love. I'm chasing love.
You started off the podcast talking about how you don't get enough appreciation on the internet.
I like the love.
Yeah.
I love the love. Some guy left a shitty comment on one of our Two Bears posts. I never read comments, but it was like and it was a good post. I liked the post. And so I was like, you get caught sometimes. You go, ooh, comments up. Wonder what it says. Like, it's got to be positive. Usually it's someone you know, and you're like, oh, nice. And it was like, do you remember when Tom and Bert used to be funny or something? And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna comment like, but you thought we were fun. Like I was trying to think of like a fun comment to come back.
Yeah.
And then like 5 people came off the plane and were like, hey man, I love what you do. I love it. And then I was like, that energy. It's like I don't really understand people that don't like being famous, because I go, it's really fun.
Right.
It's really fun for someone to go like, hey, you're the Kool-Aid guy, and then to know that you gave them a moment that they just giggled, and then go, oh yeah, I don't think I could ever tap out.
Ah, there we have it. First it was Bert the no-shirt guy, then it was the Russian Mafia guy, and now the trifecta, Bert the Kool-Aid guy. This episode could have been called Bert's Life Achievements. But remember, Bert loves all kinds of energy, including energy itself.
Yeah, but it's also tethered to so many other things, like not just comedy and podcasting, but like introducing you guys to Joe last night. It's fun. I really get off on that. Like and like going like, hey, can I bring you guys over? I love energy. That's why I'm terrified of death, is because that energy.
No energy, bro.
Yeah, energy's over there.
Tom's dad, when he passed, said something to Tommy, and that I think of every day. I think of it. He said, "Buddy, life goes on. Life goes on," and I think of that. It's so funny in that I never met your dad or anything, but that one statement means his life goes on, because I think of it every day. I think of your dad a lot, where I go, that's such a profound statement. It does go on. It does go on. And people are forgotten, and you have to do your next day. And there will be days you don't think about me. But that statement sticks with me. And it's my thing I fight against, is I don't want to be forgotten. Yeah. I just want people to go like, man, how cool would Bert be right now? Like, that's the thing. Mm-hmm. That's the fucking thing. So I think my thing is not money. Money. It's can you leave a mark when you're gone? Like Jimmy Buffett, your dad. Mm-hmm. My grandma, when I think of my grandma, she gave me this necklace. And I think of her all the time. Will you be remembered? And you don't need to be remembered like Winston Churchill, but will you be remembered? And how long can you put off that second death where no one remembers you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How long can you live where people still talk about you?
Imagine stealing one of the most generic lines in history, "Life goes on," from someone you've never met. That's got to be one of the most Bert things I've ever heard him say. Halfway through the story, he says, "By the way, I've never met Tom's dad." And this is probably the 10th time he's brought up how scared he is of dying and people not remembering and celebrating him. He clearly has some deep issues going on from his childhood, fear of abandonment or something like that. He reminds me of one of those people who are scared to be alone. I've known a few people like that myself. They always have to be around others, and when they don't, they become super stressed. That's what makes me think that Bert doesn't really care anymore about whether he gets positive or negative attention. He just wants the attention however he can get it. I used to think that he was just genuinely oblivious to all the hate that he gets, but he's clearly aware of it now, but likes to create his own narrative so he can sleep at night. For example, that story he was telling about getting off the plane after reading that comment about him and Tom not being funny anymore, and 5 people coming up to him and saying, "We love what you do, thanks for the laughs," etc. First of all, I doubt it was 5 people, it was probably like 1 or 2, and Bert probably mistakes being recognized by people for being celebrated. I can imagine people going up to Bert and asking him if he's that guy and having a laugh about it, similar to Targetgate where Bert was approached by 2 kids asking if he was a YouTuber, but he insisted he was just a comedian. And the irony is, I don't know if Bert realizes this, but the internet is a much bigger place than real life. That's not necessarily a good thing, but I'm sure he gets more haters than supporters. For every 1 fan that comes up to him on the streets, there's 10 people online that think he's a clown. At least it seems like he's leaning into it at this point and monetizing it until it disappears. I mean, how much longer can he keep going up on stage to tell his machine story, then crap his pants, wipe it on a white t-shirt and hold it up to a cheering crowd? I'll tell you what though, one thing to really look out for is when the sponsors start dropping off. I think that's why they knew they had to start their own vodka company, so they always have something to sell their audience when everything else dries up. But anyway, that's my breakdown of the latest episode of 2 Bears, 1 Cave. Let me know in the comments below what you think about all of this, and if you're not a regular of this channel, hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you ended up enjoying this video. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Cheers, boys.
gentlemen.
Congratulations to what sounds
Cheers.
like the most successful liquor drop of all time. Cheers, brother.
Swish it around the mouth.
That burns.